Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Arjun Chaudhary and with me is VC Pramod with the evening news. In the top headlines, Election Commission announces schedule for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Punjab and Manipur. Polls in 7 phases to be held in Uttar Pradesh from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. Voting in Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa to take place in a single phase on the 14th of February, 2-phase polling in Manipur on the 27th of February and the 3rd of March. Counting of votes on the 10th of March. No physical political rallies and road shows to be allowed till the 15th of January. Model Code of Conduct comes into effect in poll-bound states. Over 150 crore and 61 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. More than 2 crore children in the age group of 15 to 18 years receive first dose. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges everyone to maintain momentum of vaccination and follow COVID-appropriate protocol. Over 14,000 tons of liquid medical oxygen transported to COVID care centers by railways. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says setting up of 100 new Sainik schools will provide opportunities to girls to join armed forces. And new passenger train flagged off between Tripura and Manipur. And before the news in detail, let's have a look at this public service announcement. As the number of COVID-19 cases are rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. As a new Omicron variant of coronavirus is causing a concern, please continue to follow the 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact the national helpline numbers 011-239-78046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. The Election Commission today announced the assembly polls schedule for Goa, Punjab, Manipur, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Announcing the poll schedule in New Delhi this afternoon, Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra said Uttar Pradesh will go to polls in 7 phases from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. Voting for Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa will be held on the 14th of February in a single phase. Manipur will vote on the 27th of February and the 3rd of March in 2 phases. Counting of votes will be held on the 10th of March. A total of 690 assembly constituencies in Goa, Manipur, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Punjab will go to the polls this time. The term of Goa Legislative Assembly is ending on the 15th of March this year, Manipur Assembly on the 19th of March, Uttarakhand and Punjab Legislative Assembly on the 23rd of March, and Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly on the 14th of May this year. Mr. Chandra said that for the past 2 years, the impact of COVID-19 has made conduct of elections difficult. He said as COVID cases soared in view of Omicron variant, the poll panel held meetings with the Union Health Secretary and Home Secretary, experts and health secretaries of the states.
After taking all views and the opinions and the ground situation, we decided to announce elections to the 5 states with safety norms in place. At the heart of election process lies the sanctity and absolute veracity of the electoral roll.
The Chief Election Commissioner said the poll panel this time has laid focus on COVID-safe elections with maximum participation.
We work with 3 broad objectives this time, and foremost is the COVID-safe election. Second is hassle-free, comfortable voting experience to the voters, and third, the maximum voter participation.
Mr. Chandra said all polling stations will be equipped with COVID mitigation facilities, including sanitizers and masks. The number of booths have also been increased.
The voters' safety is there, the polling booth is safe, and the polling officials are safe. Therefore, I request to all the voters to come forward and cast their votes. Similarly, I will request to all political parties and entities to mentor their party workers to adhere to COVID safety guidelines, especially during the period of campaign. Let us all remember that the safety of each one of us is our collective responsibility. It is our collective responsibility, and together we can make this happen.
At least 1 polling booth in each assembly constituency will be exclusively managed by women personnel to encourage women voters. Mr. Chandra said this time emphasis has been given on increasing the gender ratio in all the states.
There were a lot of emphasis on increasing the gender ratio. That is, the women's participation in electoral process. And I'm happy to say that it has been increased in all the 5 states. And as compared to the last assembly elections, and with Uttar Pradesh witnessing the maximum increase of 29 points, followed by Goa 24 points, Manipur 19 points, Uttarakhand 18 points, and Punjab 10 points.
A total of 18.34 crore electors will take part in this election, out of which 8.55 crore are women electors. 24.9 lakh first-time electors are registered in the 5 states, including Uttar Pradesh. Senior citizens above 80 years of age, persons with disabilities, and COVID patients can vote by postal ballot. All election officials and employees will be considered as frontline workers, and all eligible officers will be vaccinated with a precautionary dose. No road shows, padyatras, cycle or bike rallies and processions shall be allowed till the 15th of January. The Election Commission will review the situation and issues further instructions accordingly. Political parties have been advised to conduct the campaign through digital mode as much as possible. A maximum of 5 persons to be allowed for door-to-door election campaign by candidates. The Election Commission also decided to increase the broadcast time allotted to recognize political parties on Doordarshan and All India Radio during these elections.
In view of emphasis on non-contact based campaign during pandemic conditions, Commission has decided to double the free equitable time allotted to the recognized political parties on Doordarshan and AER during these elections.
With the announcement of the poll schedule, the Model Code of Conduct has come into effect. We bring you a report on the upcoming assembly elections in the 5 states.
In Goa, the 40-member House has 7 vacancies at present. The ruling BJP, led by Dr. Pramod Sawant, has a strength of 25, while Congress and Goa Forward Party has 2 members each. Maharashtravadi Gomantak Party and All India Trinamool Congress have 1 each, while there are 2 independent members. In Manipur, Chief Minister N. Biren Singh is leading the BJP-led government. Presently, the ruling BJP has got a strength of 28 members in the 60-member House. Indian National Congress has 15, Naga People's Front has 4, and National People's Party has 3 members, while All India Trinamool Congress has got 1 along with 2 independent members. There are 7 vacancies in the House. In Punjab, 117 assembly constituencies will go to polls, where Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi is leading the Congress government after the change of guard and resignation of Captain Amrinder Singh, who went on to float his own party, Punjab Lok Congress. Presently, the ruling Congress has got 80 members. Shiromani Akali Dal has 14, Aam Aadmi Party has 12, Bharatiya Janata Party has got 4, while Lok Insaf Party has 2 members, and Punjab Lok Congress has got a lone member in the House. There are 4 vacancies in the House. Bharatiya Janata Party, Captain Amrinder Singh-led Punjab Lok Congress PLC and Shiromani Akali Dal Sanyukt have already announced their alliance for the upcoming elections. In Uttarakhand, Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami is heading the BJP government after the second change of leadership. The earlier incumbents included Trivendra Singh Rawat and Tirath Singh Rawat. The ruling party has got a strength of 56 in the 70-member House, while the Indian National Congress has 10 members. The House has 2 independent members and there are 2 vacancies. In Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is leading the BJP-led government. The ruling BJP has got a massive strength of 303 members in the 403-member House, while its alliance partner Apna Dal Sonelal has got 9 members. Samajwadi Party has 49 members, Bahujan Samaj Party 15, Indian National Congress has got 7, and Suheldev Bharatiya Samaj Party 4, along with Rashtriya Lok Dal and Nirbal Indian Shoshit Hamara Aam Dal 1 each. At present, there are 5 independent members and 9 vacancies. Election Desk, AIR News.
In Uttar Pradesh, all major political parties have welcomed the decision of the Election Commission to conduct polls in the state. After the declaration of polling dates and model code of conduct, local administration and districts removed hoardings and banners at many places. The Uttar Pradesh Assembly has a total of 403 seats, with 202 being the majority mark. In Punjab, the 1987 batch IPS officer Viresh Kumar Bhavara today assumed the charge of DG of Police. After assuming the charge, newly appointed DGP said that Punjab Police will ensure smooth conduct of elections. Apart from ensuring smooth elections, DGP Bhavara said that his focus would be on eradicating drug menace and terrorism from the state. In Manipur, Chief Electoral Officer Rajesh Agarwal briefed media persons in Imphal on upcoming assembly elections in the state. He said voting for the first phase election will be held for 38 assembly constituencies of 6 districts: Imphal West, Imphal East, Bishnupur, Chuchandrapur, Ferozal and Kangpokki on 27th of February. The polling for the remaining 22 assembly constituencies of 11 districts will be held on the 3rd of March. More than 150 crore 61 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Over 2 crore children between the age group of 15 to 18 years have been administered the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged everyone to maintain the momentum of vaccination and has asked everyone to follow COVID-appropriate protocol. In a tweet, Mr. Modi expressed happiness that within a week, over 2 crore children between the age group of 15 to 18 have been administered the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. He urged people to continue this momentum. Union Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia said this achievement has been made within a week of the start of the vaccination drive for children. Meanwhile, a total of 1,41,986 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 97.3%.
Indian Railways has transported more than 14,000 tons of medical liquid oxygen to the hospitals and COVID care centres in the state of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Delhi through its 858 special freight trains run by Northern Railways. This is about 50% of the total LMO movement by the Indian Railways. Railways Ministry said that Northern Railways has maintained an uninterrupted supply of medicines, injections and consumables to the health centres. RT-PCR tests are being done at the centres. Union Ayush Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has appealed to the people to use Ayu Raksha kit to fight against COVID-19. Talking to newspersons in Guwahati today, Mr. Sonowal said that the kit consists of 4 components.
The Ministry of Ayush, by supplying the Ayu Raksha kit, which contain Savanpras, Samsamani Bhati, Anu Tail and Ayush Wax. So these are the 4 important components which is being included in this Ayush Raksha kit to protect the human health.
Mr. Sonowal said that there are other Ayush products including Arsenicum Album 30 which could be taken in consultation with physicians. In a bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Professor Dr. Tanuja Manoj Nisari, Director of All India Institute of Ayurveda, will be with us tonight to answer the queries related to coronavirus. This live program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Election Commission announces schedule for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Punjab and Manipur. Polls in 7 phases to be held in Uttar Pradesh from 10th of February to 7th of March. Voting in Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa to take place in single phase on the 14th of February. 2-phase polling in Manipur on 27th of February and 3rd of March. Counting of votes on the 10th of March. No physical political rallies and roadshows to be allowed till the 15th of January. Model Code of Conduct comes into effect in poll-bound states. Over 150 crore 61 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. More than 2 crore children in the age group of 15 to 18 years receive first dose. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges everyone to maintain momentum of vaccination and follow COVID-appropriate protocol. Over 14,000 tons of liquid medical oxygen transported to COVID care centres by railways. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says setting up of 100 new Sainik schools will provide opportunities to girls to join the armed forces. New passenger train flagged off between Tripura and Manipur. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the setting up of 100 new Sainik schools will provide an opportunity to girls to join the armed forces and contribute to national security. Mr. Singh was addressing a webinar on Sainik schools from New Delhi today. The Defence Minister said Sainik schools have contributed to the recruitment of more than 7,000 officers in the armed forces. He said the government believes in increasing the role of women in the armed forces. The minister said a series of steps have been taken in that direction, including clearing the way for admission of girls in Sainik schools and providing permanent commission to women officers. India and China will hold Corps Commander level talks next week after a gap of 3 months. The 14th round of the talks to resolve the 21-month-long standoff in eastern Ladakh will take place on the 12th of January. Our correspondent, quoting official sources, reports Lieutenant General Anindya Sengupta will lead the Indian delegation at the talks.
Development of Northeastern Region Donor Minister G. Kishan Reddy has said that the government has placed development of the Northeastern region as a foremost priority through the Act East initiative. The minister said this while participating virtually in the Northeast Festival today. During the event, Mr. Reddy interacted with entrepreneurs and potential startups. He urged the business community to confidently carry the message of investment-ready Northeast across the country and beyond. Mr. Reddy felt that the Northeastern region now has the opportunity to lead the development journey of New India. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, in presence of Union Donor Minister G. Kishan Reddy, flagged off newly launched Agartala-Jhiribham Jan Shatabdi Express today through video conferencing. It is the first rail line connection between Tripura and Manipur. The Railway Minister, while addressing the event, said that the train connection will boost trade, tourism and transportation sectors of the entire northeastern region. Mr. Vaishnav also said that he will soon review the development of the Akhora-Agartala railway project, which is a strategic point of connection between India and Bangladesh. Railway officials said the train service will connect from Manipur to Tripura via Arunachal Station at Silchar in Assam. The train will run thrice a week.
India's Department of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare and U.S. Department of Agriculture have signed a framework agreement for implementing the 2-versus-2 agri-market access issues. It includes inspection and oversight transfer for Indian mangoes and pomegranate and market access for pomegranate arils from India. It also includes market access for U.S. cherries and U.S. alfalfa hay. The Commerce Ministry has said that export of mango and pomegranate will start from January to February this year. It said that exports of pomegranate aril will start from April. Textile Minister Piyush Goyal has said that no stone will be left unturned for the growth of livelihoods in handlooms and handicrafts. Mr. Goyal today reviewed the functioning of the Ministry of Textiles, its autonomous bodies and public sector undertakings under its administrative control in New Delhi. During the meeting, implementation of schemes in these sectors were discussed in detail. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today held wide-ranging conversation with his Iranian colleague H. Hamida Dolian. During the telephonic conversation, both ministers discussed the difficulties of COVID, challenges in Afghanistan, prospects of Chabahar and complexities of the Iranian nuclear issue.
Union Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs and Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Thakur, reviewed the activities of the Lakshmi Bhai National Institute of Physical Education, LNIPE, at Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh in a high-level meeting today. Talking to reporters after the meeting, the minister also expressed the intention of progressive development of this institute. LNIPE has been nurturing sports talent of the country for the last 6 decades. Earlier, Mr. Thakur addressed the newly inducted officers after the convocation parade of Assistant Commandant at the BSF Academy at Tekanpur in Gwalior. Speaking at the event, the minister appealed to the newly inducted officers of the Border Security Force, BSF, to perform their duties with truth, dignity and honesty.
आपने आज अपने आप को राष्ट्र को समर्पित कर दिया है। आज के बाद राष्ट्र हित ही आपकी प्राथमिकता होनी चाहिए। सीमा सुरक्षा बल की तैनाती के दौरान कई बार आपको जोखिम भरे सख्त निर्णय लेने होंगे। ऐसे हालत में भी आपको कानून के दायरे में रहते हुए सच्चाई, गरिमा, ईमानदारी एवं निष्पक्षता के साथ कार्य करना होगा। आपकी अव्वल दर्जे की कर्तव्य परायणता एवं सत्यनिष्ठा ही आपकी इस वर्दी का आईना होगी।
At the ceremony, 78 officials, including 3 women officers, took the oath of allegiance to the nation during the passing out parade.
The 24th National E-Governance Conference, in its Hyderabad declaration, has resolved to bring citizens and governments closer through digital platforms and transform citizen services through use of technology. Leveraging the provisions including Aadhaar, DigiLocker, Umang, eSign and Consent Framework has been emphasized for achieving the same. The 2-day conference, jointly held in Hyderabad by Union Electronics and Information Technology Ministry, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances in collaboration with Telangana government, has unanimously adopted the Hyderabad Declaration on its culmination today. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग। आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता। बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back. Let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember philosopher and social reformer Keshab Chandra Sen, who died on the 8th of January 1884. A famous Brahmo Samaj leader of Bengal, he founded a new universal religion, Navabidhan, meaning new dispensation, which aimed to incorporate the best ideas of Western spirituality with Hinduism.
Even as a youth, Keshav's primary concern was the quest for a universal religion. In 1857, while still in college, he established the Goodwill Fraternity, a Unitarian religious society for the students. In one of the meetings of this organization, Keshav first met famous Brahmo leader Debendranath Tagore.
Fascinated by Vedantism, Keshav joined the Brahmo Samaj in 1857 and became its central figure in 1858. Keshav gave new life to Brahmo Samaj, introducing new ideas and activities in it.
After being appointed the Brahmo Samaj Acharya in 1862, Keshav insisted on giving up some Hindu customs and practices, such as caste system, untouchability and child marriage, and became the champion of widow and intercaste marriages. Women's education was one of Keshav's greatest concerns. He also actively supported educational efforts of the Bama Bodhini Sabha.
After differences with Debendranath, Keshab Chandra Sen formed a new society in 1866 called the Bharatavarshiya Brahmo Samaj. In 1881, Keshab officially instituted Navabidhan, a new syncretistic religion based on the union of East and West. We salute the great reformer.
We also remember nationalist Madhu Limaye, who died on the 8th of January 1995.
Madhu Limaye was born on the 1st of May 1922 in Pune. During the freedom struggle, he was associated with the Indian National Congress and the Congress Socialist Party from 1938 to 1948. He also participated in the Goa Liberation Movement in 1955 and was sentenced to imprisonment. He spent over 19 months in Portuguese captivity. A follower of Ram Manohar Lohia, he played an active part in the JP movement in the 1970s.
We salute the great nationalist.
We also remember nationalist and feminist Asha Purna Devi, who was born on the 8th of January 1909 in Calcutta. Growing up during the politically turbulent times of Indian independence movement, a strong sense of patriotism was kindled in Asha Purna from childhood itself. Asha Purna's powerful trilogy, Pratham Pratishruti, Subarnalata and Bokul Katha, depict the women's liberation from colonial India to independent India.
Asha Purna's writings focus on gender discrimination. Her short stories and novels vividly portray the condition of middle-class Bengali women. They entail the repression, angst, growing awareness, and the final revolt of women.
সম্পাদক তো রাজকুমার চক্র, উনি আমাকে উৎসাহ দিয়েছিলেন যদি আমাকে লেখিকা করার জন্য যদি কারোর কোনো কৃতিত্ব থাকে তো ওই প্রথম লেখাটা ফেরত তো দিলেনই না, সমাদরে ছাপলেন এবং তক্ষুনি লিখলেন যে তুমি গল্প লিখতে পারলে লেখো।
For her significant contribution to the field of literature, especially feminist literature, Asha Purna Devi was bestowed with the Gyanpith Award as well as the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 1976. On the 13th of July 1995, she passed away. Her literary creations, translated in several languages, remain part of various school curriculum. AIR salutes the great Indian feminist.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline toll-free numbers 14404. Issued in the public interest by the Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago. Welcome back. Reports have appeared in a section of the media that the labour force has been migrating in the wake of a possible lockdown. This is misleading, false and baseless. There is no lockdown in any part of the country. In fact, Divisional Railways Manager Mumbai has asked people not to be misled by such fake news. In a tweet, he posted that such reports are totally false. He also issued photos of the railway station where there is no crowding. All India Radio appeals to all that as responsible citizens, it is our duty to ensure that no one is misled by such rumours. India Skills 2021 national competition is being conducted at Pragati Maidan in Delhi. More than 500 competitors from across the country are participating in the competition to showcase the talent from 54 industrial sectors.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Mumbai and Chennai are expected to have partly cloudy sky. Jammu, Srinagar and Muzaffarabad will have cloudy sky. Gilgit will have rain or snow. Aizawl will have moderate fog.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Election Commission announces schedule for assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Punjab and Manipur. Polls in 7 phases to be held in Uttar Pradesh from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. Voting in Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa to take place in a single phase on the 14th of February. 2-phase polling in Manipur on the 27th of February and the 3rd of March. Counting of votes on the 10th of March. No physical political rallies and road shows to be allowed till the 15th of January. Model Code of Conduct comes into effect in poll-bound states. Over 150 crore and 61 lakh doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. More than 2 crore children in the age group of 15 to 18 years received first dose. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urges everyone to maintain momentum of vaccination and follow COVID appropriate protocol. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says setting up of 100 new Sainik schools will provide opportunities to girls to join the armed forces. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.